Continuing on with the different types of selectors that we can use in CSS to allow us to affect different elements at a page. We have already used element selectors, and we have used ID selectors, and then we used a combination of a ID selector with an element selector inside of it. So now what we're going to move on to is class selectors. So just as we had in this section, we had an ID of main body. The format is the same for when you're wanting to add a class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a class to each of these LIs. So each of these LIs are each of these list items. And let's call that nav item. Okay, so again, that is a property of the LI, so it goes inside the opening tag of that. I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste that into each of these. So inside of each of these LIs, I'm going to give it a class of nav item. So at this point, that doesn't make any difference because we haven't made a rule. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a rule for that class of nav item. So where we used a pound sign when we're using an ID for a class, we use a dot, a period. So I choose nav item and I put my curlies up there. And let's give each of those a background color. Of let's go to a hexadecimal. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to pull the hexadecimal color out of here. I want to do a gray, so we'll do that right there. And what you'll see is that it brought, and I got to add the semicolon to the end, it brought out this hexadecimal color that was the equivalent there. Now there are a lot of places where you can go and look at hexadecimal color charts. We won't go into that today, but what I do when I come over here is that you'll see that each of these line items or list items has become gray. Now how do you know that all of those are not just one element? Well, what we'll do is we'll take this class out of the second one. So the second list item does not have that class, and when you come in, you see it alternates between them. So I'm going to put that back in there, and you can see it. But that would be a way where you could alternate colors, like if you wanted to do alternating colors, so that, you know, like if you had a lot of data and it was easier to read, that would be one way that you could do it. So the class, the interesting thing about classes is it can be used in more than one item in the page. And so that's used quite frequently, especially in more sophisticated development programs, to allow you to make one rule that applies to a lot of things, across a lot of different pages, and it's a real effective way of doing that. So just like we did with the ID main body with an H1, we could create a compound rule with nav item if we wanted to as well. You can do that with any set of rules. What we'll do in the next video is we will look at a little bit more about how you group selectors so that you can be more efficient when you're creating multiple rules that have the same properties.